folks, I'm Jesse McInturf, and I'm a Los Angeles-based guitar instructor and studio musician. And I just picked up this Dunable Guitars 30-inch Baritone Yeti about a week ago. It is now Friday after I picked it up. And I just wanted to go over kind of the options. This has gotten a whole bunch of attention on Sasha's Instagram page. And a lot of people asking about like all these wacky controls and how it worked. And I just wanted to walk through all the tonal options, just kind of as a way to pay back Sasha for doing all that. So this guitar is actually built off of a Fender Bass 6. That was kind of the original idea, but something that could go even further than that. So that's why we ended up with this triple Baphomet pickup configuration. That was Sasha's suggestion. I'd been looking at his more classic rock output pickups, and he said for something that was going to be tuned this low, I wanted to go with a more modern pickup. Been very, very happy about that choice. So starting out listening to it, I've got my bridge pickup here. Now what's a little unique is that these three switches here all have three-way. So they're off, single coil on, and then full humbucker on. And then I've also got a bass cut switch here, or strangle switch as Fender calls it. I believe that cuts everything beneath 150 hertz. And then back here I've also got a phase switch, which flips the middle pickup in and out of phase. So just going through everything, let's start out with just the bridge pickup, single coil, and it sounds something like this. Let's turn the volume on though. Cool. Now go into it in full humbucker mode. All right, now let's go to the middle pickup. So middle pickup single coil. Now middle pickup full humbucker. And then going to neck pickup single coil. And neck pickup full humbucker. Now, where this starts to get really interesting is once we start combining the pickups. So now, I'll go through everything and we'll start using the phase switch as well. So, I'm going to go single coil in the bridge and single coil in the middle. And we get this. And then out of phase. Now, I really love that out of phase sound. You get that really strat kind of quacky thing. And that was one of the things I was most excited about getting this guitar, was that I wanted something that was going to be super versatile and really usable as a studio instrument. I figured if I was going to spend the amount of money that was going to require to get this aluminum neck guitar, that I wanted it to be useful for more than just doing chuggy metal. So that's why I am doing everything on a clean tone. I'm going to do some dirty stuff later on. Now, same deal, we're going to go back to being in phase, and bridge pickup in full humbucker, and middle pickup in full humbucker. All right. And then out of phase. Cool. Now let's go to single middle, single bridge, and those are going to be in phase. And then out of phase. Now we're going to go full on humbucker middle, full on humbucker neck, in phase. And out of phase. Huge amount of tonal options there. Now we're going to start messing around with this bass cut switch. So I requested this on the guitar just because the Fender Bass 6s had it. I wasn't sure how useful it would actually be, but I just figured, why not? I felt bad because I know Sasha ended up having some issues with making it at first. Eventually he got it all figured out and he told me it wasn't that big of a deal. But I have to say that I've really been surprised at how incredibly useful it is, certainly on an instrument that's tuned this low. So I keep this a full octave below, so it's just E to E, but in the bass range. I'll tune it up a little bit. I've been doing some Meshuggah stuff, and then that's a half step up from that. And it handles that tuning really, really well as well. But when you're tuning this low, having that strangle switch really makes a difference in how good this guitar sounds just plugged into a normal amp. So if I go to just my neck pickup in full humbucker mode, now if I bring in that bass cut, you can really hear how much more articulation you get. Versus you'll really hear it too later when I do some of the high gain stuff. So now once again, we're gonna go full humbucker middle, no bass cut. And the bass cut. And we're gonna go bridge pickup full humbucker. And bass cut. Now, the other thing you can do is start combining that with the phase, which is always super cool. So now I'm going to go full neck, full bridge, full middle, out of phase. Actually, we'll start in phase. And this is with the bass cut. And then out of phase. And bass cut off. Bass cut on. Like I said, it's a really, really cool circuit. So I'm going to take a break here, and we're going to flip over to some high gain sounds so you can really hear the difference that makes. So 1 second. Alright, so now we're back, and I've got this plugged into the Neural DSP Fortin amplifier. I have all the overdrive pedals turned off so you can really kind of hear the difference. I find that they all tend to cut so much low end that it would really affect what you're going to hear coming out of the instrument. So, starting out, we're just going to go full on bridge pickup, humbucker mode, no bass cut, no phase. Now, same thing, I'm going to do the bass cut on the full-on humbucker. I think that's so useful. So same deal, we're going to middle pickup, no bass cut. And bass cut. And then we're going to go no bass cut, full on neck pickup. And then neck pickup with a bass cut. Now another sound that I'm always a big fan of is the full on humbucker and then a single coil in the neck. And the other thing I've come around to being a big fan of, because I own a St. Vincent from Ernie Ball, is they actually have a mode where it's just all three in full-on humbucker, and I use that all the time when I'm playing live. And then bass cut on full-on. Very, very cool. And then, just for fun, we'll do in phase, out of phase. I think you can really tell that this guitar is a killer metal guitar, on top of the fact that it's also really, really useful as a clean guitar. I think Sasha has a reputation as just a metal guitar builder, but this thing really does it all, and I've been really, really impressed with all the clean tones I've been getting out of it. So I've been using this on a lot of my television scoring work lately, and I've really, really just been enjoying it. So the story behind how this guitar came together was that I had been asked about a year and a half ago to write some music for a television show, and they were looking for something very, very grindy and robotic and kind of industrial. And at this point, I'd sold off most of my metal guitars. I didn't have any baritones or anything. I had like a $150 7-string Ibanez that was a 25.5-inch scale. And I really wanted to do some of that really extreme downtuning stuff. I'd been listening to the Doom 2016 soundtrack a lot, and I loved his use of this low C sharp tuning. So I was looking for something I could explore that with, but all the options I was finding for a 30-inch baritone were either, the Fender Bass 6s, which are great, but they're all single coils, so you're not going to be able to do the super heavy thing, or they were, Agiles and other, foreign-made instruments that are just, questionable quality. There's some good Agile stuff out there. There's some really bad Agile stuff. If it works for you, that's great. I just didn't want to spend any money on that. I'd owned a couple over the years. So fast forward to the 2019 NAMM show, and I end up meeting with Kevin Burkett from the Electrical Guitar Company, and I was chatting with him because I knew that they did some 30-inch baritones, and he actually mentioned that they were going to be doing a run of the 30-inch baritone necks very soon, and so I should get in touch with him. So I emailed Kevin as soon as I got back from the NAMM show, and he got right back to me, said they were doing a short run of these 30-inch necks, and picked one right up. I wasn't even sure what I was going to be doing with it. I just knew that I needed to have it. So floating around then for about another month or two, and I saw some of Sasha's builds on Instagram. I've known him from around Los Angeles for a while. He had done work at some of my jobs with us helping set up guitars for kids. And he'd done really great. I'd even had him do some setups on my guitars, and I thought those sounded great as well. So we started emailing back and forth and talking about options, and he suggested I just swing down and met up with him down at a shop in East LA. We hashed out the details. So the main thing I was kind of on the fence about is I was thinking something more vintage voiced, but he pushed me towards doing the Baphomets. I think that was a really great choice. I have no complaints about these pickups. I do love that they just go to full bore metal, but they clean up really, really well. All the clean stuff you were hearing earlier was recorded through, I've got like a little Fender Blues Junior clone that I've replaced the tube so that it's even more low gain. I just mainly use it as like a pedal platform, and that's what I use when I play live. I don't really do the high gain thing live, so I don't maintain an amp like that anymore. The other thing he talked me into was going with the Mastery vibrato and bridge. I've already got a couple guitars that had the Mastery stuff on it, so I knew it was really, really great. To be honest, I didn't want to pay for it, but what he finally kind of pushed me over the edge with is Sasha goes, all of the guitars I build for myself have a Mastery bridge and trem. He's like, I think it's the only way to go. And I was like, that's all I need to hear. So, yep, charge me. And we did that. So then we went with that, and I really loved it. Another option that I decided on was this is actually a roasted swamp ash body, not swamp ash or mahogany. And it was a little bit of an upcharge for that. Now, is there much of a tonal difference? I don't know that there is. I just have a couple guitars that are roasted swamp ash bodies and a couple guitars with roasted swamp ash necks. And it just makes sense to me that you would want to do that, where you want to wick out all the moisture and just make the wood more stable. Maybe this will be one of those things where, 30 years from now, it's looked at as like, oh, wasn't that quaint that they thought that made a difference? But to me, it was worth the extra bucks, mainly because you get to see all this super rad wood grain on the back of it. I'm always a big fan of the thin, transparent finishes. I want a guitar to get really, really beat up with time, and I want it to look like it's just had the hell kicked out of it. I am very, very far from one of those guys that babies his instruments. So, all of my friends benefit from that, since I'll borrow them guitars because I want them to look more beat up rather than less. But yeah, like I said, I mainly made this video just because I wanted to go over all the options. And I just really wanted to do this as kind of a thank you back to Sasha Dunable, because I thought he did such a great job with this guitar. The build time was about 8 months from me handing him cash on the down payment to me picking it up last week, which, if you really think about it, 8 months is a great amount of time for an American custom guitar. Like, I know this is like a standard body shape, but it's a totally unique pickup setup, totally unique controls. I know he also normally doesn't do the aluminum guards, but I wanted that because I thought it would just match really, really well with the neck. So even if you want something that he doesn't list on his website, email him. He's great with that kind of stuff. He's gonna, the worst thing he's gonna do is tell you no, but he's really flexible. So I was really impressed with it. And I have to say, I've been taking this and showing it to some of my students, and all of them have really, really thought it was great. So yeah, just wanted to give an extra shout out and say thank you to him for building this. And you're probably going to be hearing this on all sorts of background stuff for TV shows now. So thank you, Sasha.